Love is something in our world that everyone seems to be seeking, but really in the wrong ways. It's our human world that shows us that we must seek love from others, that love comes strictly from other human beings, and that if people don't love you, then something must be wrong with you. We believe that other people determine our worth and our lovability, but the fact is, we live in a world of people who are also searching for love, from a place of fear, insecurities, judgment, frustration, anger, and sadness. It will, in all likelihood, leave you feeling unworthy, wounded, traumatized, triggered, and anxious around the whole topic. Like you're completely unlovable and probably exhausted from trying to find love. But really, outside love, while wonderful and amazing when truly unconditional, it isn't the main place you should be going for love. You should be going to your own heart, soul, and your divine creator. Today, I want to talk about my own journey of discovery in this way and how I found my own way back to my heart, back to the unconditional love that we already have within us. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the Alchemy of Manifestation podcast. I'm Jen Tammy at the Wheelhouse Project, and we are going to talk about how that sweet heart of yours is going to help you create the life of your dreams. My father was a manipulative alcoholic whose method of control was to withhold love. I remember at a young age, maybe 4 or 5, of watching him play with the neighbor girls, these 2 adorable little blonde girls around the same age as me. He would call them cute nicknames and tickle them. They would giggle and smile, loving the attention. All the while, I stood there watching, heartbroken, wondering, why didn't he want to play with me? Why wasn't I as lovable as they were? What made them so special? Around that time, my parents were taking us to church at a non-denominational church on Sundays. I distinctly remember sitting upright in the pew and listening intently to the minister talk about God's love. I was transfixed. It sounded so amazing to be loved like that. Who was God and how did I win their love? I was obsessed with the minister. I wanted to get closer to this man who knew God and had experienced love like that. I couldn't even imagine what that would be like. I built the minister a cross with scrap wood from our basement, and I even convinced my mom that she needed to invite him to dinner. I thought all my efforts would help me find my way to love, my way to God, but to no avail. Even in my late 20s, after I'd moved to California for a job, I still felt so alone and was always looking for love. I went looking again where I had remembered hearing about love, in a church. I remember one Sunday morning, I found myself sitting in the back of a random church in my neighborhood, listening to songs about how God loves you and crying, sobbing quietly. I just longed to feel loved. It was a heartbreaking ache for me that persisted. I felt like I could see that love existed and was told that it existed, but the more I reached for it, the more it eluded me. I remember pathetic nights back then of cooking myself dinner, listening to love songs, watching romantic movies, and generally feeling sorry for myself. I thought there must be some way to find love, someone who would see that I was lovable. As a young adult, I was looking for love mostly in men who were like my father, and who withheld love, were controlling and manipulative, or really who just took me for granted or took advantage of me. I was, of course, drawn to the familiar, which is what I felt worthy of. I thought I had to work for love, which taught me continued hard lessons, frustration, rejection, heartbreak, and pain. I was reaching for love from men who didn't love themselves and who were showing me my huge lack of self-love and self-respect in their treatment of me. I was reaching for love in others to fill me up, and they didn't have anything to give. The thing is, I wasn't a glutton for punishment. I was a rather happy, loving, caring person. So why was I on such a painful path? As most of us are in some way, I was on a path teaching me to come back to my own heart, to learn to love myself, to stop looking for love outside of me to fill me up, and to instead fill myself up with love. Eventually, after a lot of heartbreak, pain, and a difficult divorce, I saw that there was this needy sense of desperation in me as I looked for love. I saw that the more I wanted it, the more it seemed to elude me. The more toxic and challenging my relationships became. I realized that I needed to step back, to come back to myself. So for years, I shut myself off to relationships, sometimes in unhealthy ways, throwing good self-care out the window and trying to make myself more unattractive or less appealing, really. In the beginning, it was more a matter of protecting myself from any further heartbreak. But let me tell you, the universe delivered me some friends instead who mimicked the same toxic behaviors at times and forced me to break up with them as well, pushing me even further inward. Mind you, I was growing stronger, but there was a lot of stuffing down my feelings too. I felt at times like people were just punching holes in my boat, trying to sink it. I went so far down a dark hole at one point in my loneliness that I shut myself off almost completely from any sort of social life at all. I worked at home in a job I felt rather miserable at, but never worthy of better. I lived in lack mentality, also how I was raised. I was scraping to get by financially most months, and the love that sustained me during this time still wasn't my own. It was my dog's. But my heartache was even too much for them, and they both died of heart failure. Coincidence? I think not. It was a rather painful existence, but I continued to explore, study, and reach out on my journey of spiritual exploration and growth, and that was enough to sustain me. It was my continued belief in what that minister told his congregation when I was a young child, that God loved everyone. I was still on a quest to learn more and to find that love, to find what he was talking about. I still believed it was possible under all the pain. I still felt that the divine love existed somehow, somewhere, in some way. As I took the spiritual journey, this spiritual quest, if you will, I found new insights, new connections to myself and to the divine. I discovered my own intuitive voice, my own connection to everything through my psychic and intuitive abilities, channeling, and even deep meditative states. There was no doubt there were things happening that I couldn't see or put my finger on. I was feeling more and more connected to something beyond myself. I was starting to feel the love and to see the light. It drove me harder, this quest. I started going to healers and psychics, taking classes, following different spiritual teachers online. It was like following a breadcrumb trail, as every bit of it taught me new things, showed me new light, and helped me to connect a bit deeper to my own soul. I started to listen more to my own intuition and gut feelings. I started to notice the lessons my own guides were teaching me and take note of them. I started to feel passionate about spiritual teaching and dabbled with that. And all the while, even without realizing it, I was starting to feel the divine love in my own heart, starting to heal myself, starting to enjoy life, starting to wake up more and more every day. The beauty of my spiritual journey has been that I have become so very open to divine guidance and good at deciphering between that which is true and accurate and resonates with me from that which does not. I have truly allowed myself to be guided, with my own visions and intentions always leading the way. I have learned to hold on to faith in my own vision and follow the path that I am led down. Has that always gone smoothly? No. It has also come with dark nights of the soul all along the way. Moments when you are shaken awake, made suddenly aware of something you are creating in your life that you don't want, showing you an old paradigm that needs to shift. It's always a good thing, though. We all need wake-up calls. And in some of those moments, you can feel very alone, blaming others or your creator even. But it's meant to wake you up to how you need to change. Ouch. Yeah, but so needed. We have to decide that we are going to crawl out of that hole, that we are willing to change to move forward. It's pivotal. As my faith grew in myself and my ability to take care of and even love myself, I really began to trust the divine to lead me as well. At first, I was all about taking control of my life, which is good and needed, but there's also a huge importance in surrender. Let me explain. So there are two huge parts of us when we're in human form. The human who rules the brain and the soul who rules the heart. The human mind is generally fear-based and is all about trying to control everything. It runs the programming of everything you've ever learned or been exposed to. It can be changed, reprogrammed, and managed, however. While, on the other hand, the heart is your connection to your soul, and it's all about love and surrendering to that divine, loving energy which you are. It's about faith, trust, love, peace, joy, but you have been taught as a human not to trust it. Your intuition, your heart, or anything that you can't see. That's where faith comes in. You will have to be able to feel into everything, to believe in and follow that which you can't see, but what feels right to you. While I was loving myself more and working on healing my old wounds, I had some traits and beliefs that I had developed that I struggled to shake, that were still not allowing me to come fully to a place of faith. They were traits and beliefs that stemmed from being the child of an unreliable, manipulative alcoholic and living in a rather drama-filled and emotionally unstable household at times. It was that I struggled with control issues, and truly letting go and trusting the divine to come through for me was a huge leap of faith in so many ways. I was not used to trusting or relying on anyone because those with whom I'd done so had not come through for me. In many of the psychic readings I had done with people, my guides would tell me, surrender. I was like, I know, I'm trying. At times it felt more challenging than loving myself, and that was a long road in and of itself. Faith and trusting in the divine is so much bigger than it seems. When people hear the law of attraction's ask, believe, receive, well, believe should be in all caps and have an asterisk with a note below it that it requires full self-love and total and complete faith and surrender to the divine. I don't think people quite understand the requirements of believe in that catchphrase. While I continued to work on it and definitely had moments of painful awareness when I was still struggling with those old control issues, I slowly worked to let it go, to trust, and to even follow my divine guidance in faith. Even taking big leaps of faith in my life when I was guided, quitting my job, signing a lease for an apartment in another state during COVID, and selling all my furniture and moving across the country. I have faith at a new level, and I'm not trying to control anything anymore. While I have my WTF moments for sure, like, why would you put me in this apartment, God? But it always becomes clear to me eventually. I'm always shown that there is a purpose, and I am being put to use in service to the divine all along the way. And all the while, I'm learning, growing spiritually, and definitely growing my faith and my own self-love. I find gratitude every day for all of the magic of my journey, because when you wake up to it, every day is filled with magic. Nothing happens by accident. Nothing. And as I learn more and more through my guides and guidance about my journey, and I'm shown everything I need to know and to teach, I can clearly see that love is the center of everything. That we came from love in the divine realms, and we are divine love as a soul, which is connected to our own human body through our heart. And that all the love we ever needed was right there in our own heart, the divine love of our Creator and the entire universe. And the way to it, self-love and faith in it all, that we are being guided, led, loved, and directed throughout life, all through this beautiful heart portal that we have, where we allow our Creator to bring us our best life. We were always loved and always will be. You never had to search for it. You never had to wish for it, to beg for it, to feel unworthy or unlovable, or even to fear it. The humans around you who couldn't love you were only there to push you backwards towards yourself, towards your own heart, to finding that endless well of unconditional love in your own heart. So beautiful. Love is at the heart of it all, always. Come back to your heart, sweet souls, back to your divinity and your faith in that. Allow it to guide you, to lead you on your best path through this lifetime, and to manifest your dreams. You are divine love, and you can create anything you desire with love, passion, and divine guidance. Love yourself harder. Grow your relationship with your divine team. Trust your heart, your divine guidance, and your intuition always. You will find your way back to love as I did. It was quite the journey, but it was so worth it. Love to you all on your journey. Thank you for joining me on the podcast today. Please subscribe to the podcast and check out all of our other resources, videos, blogs, and more at thewheelhouseproject.com. Remember to sign up for our email list while you're there. And also check us out at The Wheelhouse Project on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest.